and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm actually going to be testing out the Juno Co microfiber sponge, velvet sponge. I ended up ordering 2 of them because I was like, well, if I like it, I've got 2, and if I don't like it, well, I'll give it to the other one to someone else and hope that they like it. I don't know. So I got 2. They're just the like regular microfiber sponge. I know they have one that has like a flat top to it, but I just got the regular one. These took like, I want to say almost 2 months to come in the mail and like being shipped to Toronto. There was a solid point where I had forgotten that I had ordered these and then realized that I had ordered them, and so I emailed them being like, hey, where's my sponges? And they were like, yeah, they're on their way, and then they eventually came like a couple weeks later. But yeah, so anyways, that's besides the point. We'll give it a try. They come in these really nice bags. I haven't even opened them up. I really wanted to, but I didn't. I held myself back from doing that. So interesting. It really does, I mean, it is velvet. That's what it says it is. So let's see. I think there's like a little booklet in here. It tells us how to use it. Okay. So you can use it. It comes with this little like booklet that you can take a look at. So it says use it dry to apply loose powders, blush, and highlighters. Okay, so maybe what we'll do is I will try it out. I'll use the second one to try it dry, and then I'll use the first one to do wet. We'll see. So it says how to apply dry products. For best results, use your Juno dry. Dip your Juno into the desired amount of product and apply to the face. The dry microfiber surface will act as brush hairs for evenly blended distribution. Okay, I guess it makes sense. And it says use it wet to apply liquid foundation, concealers, and contour. So I assume they mean like stick contour or liquid contour, that sort of thing. Avoid product overload. Submerge your Juno underwater and squeeze out any excess liquid to begin. Apply a dime-sized amount of the product on the back of your hand to prepare application. Do not apply product directly onto your sponge as it will transfer too thick. Use a stippling motion, dab and stipple product until you achieve your desired effect. So to me that means to use my foundation and my concealer and apply it to my face first and then go in with the sponge afterwards to kind of like blend it into the skin, which is what I've done before in the past, so that's okay. So what I'll do is I will quickly go wet the sponge. I'm going to prime my face with the Too Faced Hangover RX Primer, and then I will come back and we will put the foundation and concealer on, and then we'll go into the dry stuff. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I've put on my primer, I've wet my sponge, and I just want to compare. I'm going to open up the other one and just show you how big it gets compared to what it is when it's dry. It actually grows quite a bit, which is good. I mean, if you want to see. So just to compare, this is the dry one and this is the wet one. So like it does grow quite a bit, and it doesn't feel wet. Like it's a little damp, but it doesn't feel soaking wet, which is nice. But that's just to kind of compare how big it grows in size. So what I will do now is I'm going to take my Dior Backstage foundation. This is in the shade 1W. I'm just going to shake it up. I am going to put it on the back of my hand because like they had said they want you to dot it on your face. So I'm going to zoom you guys in a little bit so you can kind of see what it looks like as we blend in the foundation. So I'm just going to take a little bit and put it on the back of my hand. I am taking less than I would if I was using a brush or a beauty blender, because like it did say use a dime size. So to me that means it's going to really spread the foundation. I have seen some reviews online about it. I think it was Nikki Tutorials who did it first. I actually used her. She has a coupon code, so I used the coupon code to grab the sponges, and it goes like really full coverage. So I'm interested to see how this kind of works, and I didn't realize that you could also do it dry. So I'm just gonna kind of blend it a little bit. Okay, so it's like literally all over my face. I'm gonna take the flat side of the sponge and just kind of put it all over. Now this is a foundation that I normally have to go in with 2 layers, just because it has sort of like a little bit of a thinner consistency for when I want full coverage. So we'll kind of see how this works. It is spreading it really nice. It is getting all over the sponge, but that's okay. It is blending very nicely. I don't feel like my skin is wet either, which is nice. Sometimes I feel like with the Beauty Blender that the sponge can make my face almost feel a little damp, which is not bad like if you're going for a light coverage, but when I like my skin to look matte when I set it, so with the Beauty Blender sometimes it adds a little too much hydration. Now that could just be me not squeezing out enough of the water. So it's doing a really nice job of blending out my foundation. I'm going to try going in with a second coat just to kind of see how it applies. But it feels weird because it feels like I'm using like a dry sponge. My nose is always the area that never lets foundation stick to it. So I don't know. Usually with concealer it helps a little bit, but let's try that. And then I'm going to apply just in some areas where I know that I need a little bit more full coverage. Okay. It actually applies really nicely. It's an interesting sponge. It's very dense. That's what I'm finding. Like, it's very heavy. And that's probably due to the fact too that like it doesn't feel wet. So when you put it on, it feels like you're putting on a dry sponge. So there's kind of how it blended with the foundation. Not too bad. It's actually quite nice. Like it blended in nicely. I don't like it. Obviously doesn't look like it soaked up too much of the product. It looks a little bit more in person. It looks like a little bit more foundation on the sponge, but it's not too much. Like when you compare it to my Beauty Blender, like that is a lot of foundation, and this was wet. So it just goes to show you like how it doesn't soak up too much. It just kind of like blends it in, which is nice. So next I'm going to take the Too Faced Born This Way multi-use sculpting concealer and just apply this to underneath my eyes. And then I'll apply it in like my T-zone area. So right down my nose, on the forehead, chin, and then I always apply to the corners of my noses because I do have a little bit of redness there. Okay, so then we'll go in. I'm going to use the other side, more of the curved pointed side, and we'll go in and see how this applies. Maybe we should go with that cream contour today to see how that all blends out with the sponge. It actually blends the concealer really nicely. I did apply the same amount of concealer as I would with a regular Beauty Blender or a brush. So I probably could have done just a little bit less, but I like the full coverage. It's actually like really full coverage, which is nice. The concealer covered up my nose, which I like. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if we can cream contour. So I'm just going to take the Tarte's Pro Glow palette. I'm going to use the cream contour in this one under shade. It's called Shade. This is the palette where it's like all powders except for the one cream. So I'm actually going to take it on a brush. I'll apply it with this brush. I'm going to use the Jaclyn Hill Morphe JH08 brush. I think I actually just used this once to apply like cream highlight. So I'm going to go in with this brush and kind of like add a little bit. And we'll see how it blends. This could completely ruin it, but that's okay. So we'll just do a little bit at first. I'm going to take the same sponge and just blend it. It's doing a pretty nice job. It's blending out the cream contour. And then we'll see how it takes. I always like bronzing up my forehead because it all kind of like blends in together. I'm obviously going to go back in with like powder bronzer and everything, but this is just a nice base to kind of like carve it all out. Wow, that actually did a really nice job. I even did it down the nose too, and it works really well. You can kind of see like a little bit of a contour. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly do my brows and like powder my face, and then I'll come back on and we'll do like some blush and highlight with the dry sponge. Okay, so now that my brows are done, I set my face using the Laura Mercier setting powder. I'm going to go in with the dry sponge and we'll try out like some powder contour powder, like some blush and some highlights. So I'm gonna do the contour first. Let's see, I literally just like dipped it in. Let's see how this works. I mean, it's applying like a brush, but it feels weird applying contour with a sponge. I guess if you're going for that like more precise look, then you could do that, but I like a nice fluffy brush when I'm applying at least my contour and my blush, actually, for that matter. So having like this really small sponge to apply it is a little odd. Whoa. Kind of looks like I got a bruise. I'm gonna take my sponge or my brush and just quickly blend that out a little bit. I would definitely say it's a no-go for the bronzer. Okay. I'm a little bit worried to try with the blush, but we'll give it a shot. I guess you're just supposed to use the same one. I'll use the back side for the blush. It's not horrible, I'm used to having like a nice fluffy brush to like blend it in. Like it's kind of just staying put. Or I think I'm using more product with the sponge than I would be if I was using a brush. I'm not even gonna bother trying it with the highlight. I'm just gonna go in with a brush. For the highlight, I'm going to use the Dose of Colors I Love Sarai, the Soulmate highlighter, and apply that. I'm not even gonna bother risking it with the sponge. Holy. Look at that highlight. I'm actually going to do my eyeshadow off camera, and then I will come back and give my like final thoughts on the sponges using wet or dry. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I am finally done all of my makeup. If you guys enjoyed this look, I do have a tutorial coming on it very soon. I may or may not have used a new little something, but okay, so my final thoughts on the sponges. So I really actually enjoy the sponge for the foundation and all the cream products. I am not a fan of the sponge for dry products. I ended up using the brushes to kind of go back in and clean it all up and blend it all, but I really enjoy this for like cream contour. If you're using a cream highlight, it would probably work too. Like all cream products, I really think this is nice using it wet, not for dry products. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of using it for dry products, but wet products, this is perfect. I really enjoy this. I actually kind of enjoy this more than with the Beauty Blender, which is saying a lot because I've tried different sponges, and Beauty Blender I always go back to, so this is probably a good standby. So it's now going to go in my everyday sort of area, so I can continue to use this one. So if you're looking for a cheap sponge, this was like $6 US, so not too much. It's a lot cheaper than using a Beauty Blender, and you don't have to use a brush. Brushes get dirty. Like if we just take a look at my foundation brush, it's really disgusting. So I would recommend this completely. If you're willing to wait for the shipping to come in, then totally do it. I would recommend using it wet. I picked up 2, so I'm just gonna wash this one, and then eventually when this one goes, I'm not too sure how long they're supposed to last, but we'll see. But yeah, so I would recommend this sponge completely. I actually kind of enjoy it more than the Beauty Blender. So that's it. I hope you all enjoyed sort of this review. Like I said, a look on this makeup that I'm wearing right now is coming very soon, so stay tuned. Make sure to subscribe down below before you leave, and I will see you on my next one. Bye!